Welcome to Football Game Plan's FCS Kickoff, presented by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and this is our 2016 Southland Conference Season Preview. The Southland Conference is widely considered by some to be the SEC of the FCS, and in the Southland, you'll find high-octane offenses, colorful personalities, and in some cases, colorful fields like the one in Central Arkansas. But let's begin our preview by taking a look at some of the big storylines heading into the season. Will the Southland Conference be a better defensive conference in 2016? Only three teams, Central Arkansas, Southeastern Louisiana, and McNeese State, gave up 25 points or less last season. It was basically shootout Saturday for everyone else within the SLC, and as much as fans love to see their team light up the scoreboard each week, it's no fun when the opponent has that same ability. I think we'll see more teams' defenses become a little bit better this season. McNeese State has a new head coach in Lance Guidry, who was promoted from defensive coordinator, and I'm a big fan of promoting from within, especially when you have success. The Cowboys had the best defense in the Southland last season, giving up only 13 points a game, and promoting Guidry to head coach ensures a few things. One, that they'll remain great on defense, and two, there's no learning curve or adjustment period getting to know players' strengths or their weaknesses. McNeese should still continue to be one of the conference's best teams. Can Incarnate Word build on last year's winning record? Well, I'm pretty sure that's the hope for head coach Larry Kennan. Since 2012, the Cardinals have gone 2-9, 6-5, 2-9, and last year 6-5. Now, obviously, Coach Kennan wants to buck that trend, and with the way they've recruited and built depth over the last two seasons, I'd say that they have an excellent chance to take steps forward in 2016. Last year, the Abilene Christian Wildcats experienced their first losing season under head coach Ken Collins. There is an explanation, however. The Wildcats were decimated by injuries on both sides of the ball, which really stretched their depth to the limit. Now that everyone is back healthy, one could conceivably say that the Wildcats can get back to their winning ways with their explosive offense. Now, what last year did show Coach Collins is that depth is of the utmost importance, and that's one of the positives he can take away from last season's 3-8 record. And lastly, is there a power shift coming amongst the Louisiana schools in the Southland Conference? Programs like Northwestern State and Nichols would like to think so, and we've known McNeese State to be a perennial power, and as of recently, so has Southeastern Louisiana. But keep an eye on the Demons and the Colonels this year, as they've quietly built up their roster and are primed to make their way up the Southland Conference standings. The Demons haven't posted a winning season since 2008, and the Colonels since 2007. As I mentioned earlier, the Southland Conference features exciting, high-scoring games each and every week, so essentially every game can be classified as a big one. But let's narrow down this list and take a look at some of the key games on this year's schedule. Starting on September 3rd, the Lamar Cardinals play host to Coastal Carolina, and the Chanticleers are an FBS transition team that's moving to the Sun Belt Conference next season, and they are a strong squad with a ton of talent. Now, this is the type of game you'd want to see if Lamar will win if they want to be serious players in the Southland and FCS this season. Three games headline September 10th. First, you have Central Arkansas versus Sanford, and the Bulldogs are a tough team coming out of the SoCon, and this is a good barometer or litmus test for the Bears. If Central Arkansas can knock off the Bulldogs, it not only sends a message to the rest of the FCS about the SLC, but it also builds confidence for the team moving forward. The second game is an FCS versus FBS matchup as McNeese State travels 45 minutes east on I-10 to take on my Louisiana Raging Cajuns. These are two teams that used to be bitter rivals and played for the Cajun Crown Trophy. Now, the series was dormant from 1986 to 2007, and in that 2007 game, McNeese won 38-17. They have a great chance in this meeting as well, and keep an eye on for the upset in Cajun Field. The Cowboys do have the lead in this overall series with a 20-15-2 record. And third, you have a Southland Conference versus Big Sky Conference matchup as Southeastern Louisiana travels to take on Southern Utah. Now, this is the type of game you'd see in the FCS playoffs. The Lions are looking to get back on the winning track, while the Thunderbirds are breaking in a new coach and lost a ton of talent defensively. I think this has the making for a high-scoring affair and one that could weigh heavily in the minds of FCS voters come playoff selection Sunday. On October 1st, it's the Battle of the Piney Woods between Sam Houston State and Stephen F. Austin. This will be the 91st meeting between these two programs, and it's the second longest rivalry in the FCS. The Bearcats hold a 53-35-2 overall record in the series and also won last year's meeting 34-28. Since 2010, this game has been played at Houston's Reliant Stadium, and this season's edition figures to be a lot like what we saw last year. A lot of points scored and an entertaining watch for 4 quarters. Finally, on November 5th is a Clash of Titans battle between Sam Houston State and McNeese State, and last year the Cowboys beat the Bearcats in the regular season 27-10 in Lake Charles and would go on to finish the regular season with a perfect 10-0 record. These two squads would meet again in the second round of the FCS playoffs, and Sam Houston ended the Cowboys' quest for a magical season by beating them 34-29. This game could ultimately decide the conference winner. We'll take a commercial break and come back with more of our 2016 Southland Conference season preview.
1, 2, down! 10! Hit!
The FCS, in my mind, is the greatest level of football in the country. It doesn't necessarily always have the resources, the glitz, the glamour of the FBS level, but the FCS is a level that I think plays outstanding football. It's extremely competitive. It plays to a national champion at the end in a tournament format, and I think the experience of aiming for that championship is something that you can't get on any other level.
Are you ready?
The Connecticut School of Broadcasting can help you reach the next level in the amazing world of broadcast and entertainment media.
I've mentored several interns here at the Covino and Rich Show at SiriusXM, and the ones from CSB always stand out to me. They have a knowledge of the equipment, knowledge of editing, what it's like to be in a studio, and that always eliminates a huge learning curve.
Their professional studios give students a hands-on, learn-by-doing approach using equipment used in actual radio stations and TV studios. Visit our website at gocsb.com or call 1-800-TV-RADIO. Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Start today.
Welcome back to the FCS Kickoff as we are previewing the Southland Conference. The strength of the conference lies within the talent that's on the teams. The more talent, the better and more competitive the teams are, the stronger the conference becomes as a whole. Well, we've put together a collection of those talents to create a squad that I think would win a lot of football games. So here is our 2016 preseason All Southland Conference team. Looking at the offensive side of the ball, quarterback Zach Conkey of Stephen F. Austin was second in the conference in passing and is the leading returning starter after tossing 16 touchdown passes in 2015. He has some great targets on this list to get the football to, and wide receivers Damon Smith of Central Arkansas and Kent Shelby of McNeese State. You also have tight end Zach Hetrick, who's coming off a big playoff game versus Sam Houston State and figures to be an integral part to the Cowboys offense. Speaking of a big piece of the offense, running back Cade Harrington of Lamar is the Cardinals offense. He is coming off a 2015 season in which he led the nation in rushing with 2,092 yards and an eye-popping 7.9 yards a carry and scoring 21 rushing touchdowns. The Bearcats' Corey Avery was equally as impressive as a sophomore last year, finishing with nearly 1,500 yards on the ground, 15 rushing touchdowns, and averaging 7.6 yards a carry. Looking along the offensive line, Terrence Boyd Jr. of Northwestern State consistently graded out high on film and is a 3-year starter. Boyd was one of the more talented offensive linemen in the FCS, and Brett Treadway of Lamar at 6'3", 280 was a football game plan preseason FCS All-American and an obvious no-brainer on our preseason All Southland team. Moving over to the defensive side of the ball, and there is a healthy amount of Wildcats on this list. Defensive lineman LaMarcus Allen, linebacker Sam Denmark, and defensive back Jabari Butler all give Abilene Christian hope defensively. The same can be said for McNeese State, as they boast 3 talented individuals themselves, with defensive lineman Isaiah Golden, who transferred in from Texas A&M and played at a high level last year, linebacker Shari Goins, and defensive back Dominique Hill. Defensive lineman P.J. Hall of Sam Houston State and defensive back Tremont Smith of Central Arkansas were both football game plan preseason All-Americans, and Hall has been a star since stepping foot on campus and is a 3-time consensus All-American and All-Conference performer. Linebacker Garrett Dolan of Houston Baptist finished second in the conference in tackles with 121, averaging 11 tackles per game. As we take a look at the specialists, Lamar's Rodney Randall, as a freshman last year, finished with 635 yards on kickoff returns, averaging 24.4 yards per return, bringing one back to the house. His teammate kicker Alex Ball was perfect on his extra points, connecting on all 52 of them, and was a solid 10 out of 13 on his field goal attempts as well. We'll take a quick break and come back with more of our conference superlatives for the Southland. Don't forget to check out and grab your copy of our 2 newly released books, Football: A Love Story and What Did Football Teach Me? These books feature over 100 stories from current and former coaches, players, executives, and entertainers from across the football landscape, describing what got them involved in the game, what they love about it, and what life lessons the game taught them. You can find your copy or order your copy from our website at footballgameplan.com/books.
For me, I think the biggest thing that football taught me was how to overcome adversity.
At some point in your life, you're going to have some tough times.
You have to have that next play mentality.
That cohesiveness and that working together, that's really something special that you can't get in a lot of other areas.
When you practice that and you live that in other phases of your life, it becomes second nature, because all you know how to do is fight.
It's not an easy game. If it were easy, everyone would do it.
You start to appreciate the smaller contributions that people make. You don't just look at the big one, because you knew it took 6 or 7 other guys who are unsung.
And you can't take shortcuts and be successful.
Doing what they do to make it possible for the guy getting the press clippings or whatever it might be.
In this game, whether it's as a coach or a player.
So I would certainly say that you definitely got a very quick lesson in how to overcome adversity playing football.
Welcome back to the FCS Kickoff, presented by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and we are previewing the Southland Conference, and we've already unveiled our preseason all-conference team. Now it's time to take a look at the best of by position, starting with the quarterbacks. I think we have a tie for the best group of quarterbacks in the conference with Stephen F. Austin and Sam Houston State. For the Lumberjacks, you have Zach Conkey as the starter, who's primed for an outstanding senior season, but his backup, Hunter Taylor, in my opinion, could start for many teams in the Southland Conference. The Bearcats seem to go from quarterback to quarterback seamlessly. They lose their outstanding passer from last year in Jared Johnson to a graduate transfer to UT San Antonio, but they are still in outstanding shape at the position. Jeremiah Briscoe filled in quite nicely last year as he split time with Johnson, and the 6'3", 225-pound quarterback from Houston finished last year with 14 touchdown passes and over 1,800 yards throwing the football. I look for both numbers to increase this year, and the Bearcats also have 2 very impressive incoming talents. Cody Brewer, whom I think is a star in the making, and Caleb Griffin, who's also an outstanding athlete. The best core of running backs is a tie between Lamar and Sam Houston State. Cade Harrington alone can make the Lamar Cardinals the best group of guys in the backfield, but he also has a tremendous fullback in DeAndre Jennings and two solid reserves in Emmett Riley and Keegan Mitchell. The Bearcats are in the same boat with their game breaker Corey Avery, who rushed for 1,483 yards last year, and as a freshman, Remus Bulmer ran for nearly 400 yards at 5.5 yards a carry. Keep in mind, he had to fight for opportunities behind guys that have graduated, so expect his number to jump significantly. The best receiving core goes to the McNeese State Cowboys. The Cowboys have two excellent wideouts in Kent Shelby and Tavarius Baptiste. Now, once you add in tight end Zach Hetrick, it makes this the most complete group in the conference. Traveling back out to Beaumont to Lamar for the best offensive line in the Southland, the Cardinals up front are led by Brett Treadway and John Craven, and it's no coincidence that as an offense, they have been able to put up monster numbers. You're doing something right up front if you're having that type of offensive output. Looking at the defensive line, I think you have to give the nod to Sam Houston State. P.J. Hall, Luis Carino, Sion Latu are outstanding as a group and also individually for that matter. And you're talking about a group that combined for 43 TFLs and 96 solo stops, which is unheard of for a defensive lineman. You don't get any better than what they put together last year, and that's a big reason why the Bearcats were getting it done in the trenches. Staying in the state of Texas, Abilene Christian has the best group of linebackers in the Southland. Sam Denmark was the leading tackler in the conference last season. As a sophomore, he finished with 138 tackles. 81 of those were solo stops. Both Miles Salisbury and Gavin Burford got valuable playing time last year as a sophomore and as a freshman respectively, and are now ready to step into starting roles. This is a very athletic and active group. In the secondary, the Central Arkansas Bears wear the crown for the best unit, led by Tremont Smith, the 6', 180-pound junior corner, picked off 5 passes, which was tied for second in the conference, and broke up 12 passes, which was tied for first. Tyler Williams picked off 3 passes and was very active with 20 solo tackles. There's good depth across the board here with Brandon Porter, Trey Mosley, and Prince Ean. The Lamar Cardinals can lay claim to the best special teams unit in the Southland Conference with 2 players in kicker Alex Ball and kickoff returner Rodney Randall on our preseason all-conference team. It's tough to argue against that. I'll do you one better and throw another tidbit. The Cardinals were also number 1 in the conference in kickoff coverage with 31 touchbacks. And if need be, they've shown the willingness to let Cade Harrington also return kicks. The Southland Conference watched 3 of its players get selected in this past April in the 2016 NFL Draft. Harlan Miller of Southeastern Louisiana, Jonathan Woodard of Central Arkansas, and Lakeland Edwards of Sam Houston State. This season, I'm sure we'll see more Southland Conference players get a look from the NFL, and here are some of the players that you want to keep an eye on this season as we take an early look at some 2017 NFL Draft prospects. Looking at this list, you only see one quarterback in Zach Conkey. The 6'4", 225-pound gunslinger from Stephen F. Austin has a chance to raise his stock this season. Scouts want to see Conkey elevate and flatline his game as a senior. Cade Harrington, to me, has Darren Sproles-like game. He's a quick starter, explosive talent that doesn't need many carries to get into a groove, and he shows the ability to score from anywhere on the field. And last time I checked, you need those cash register guys on your team. Those are guys that can put up points in a hurry. An underrated prospect to watch is Harrington's teammate, Omar Tebow. He'll be considered undersized by NFL standards, which is silly, but Tebow possesses the ability to be a disruptive presence. The 6', 330-pound senior has a quick first step, quick counter move, and uses his hands extremely well. Safety Adam Jones out of Northwestern State showcases tremendous athleticism and versatility. He has played linebacker for the Demons early in his career and excelled, and then they moved him back to safety where he has displayed excellent range and ball skills, picking off 6 passes. You'll definitely hear his name a lot during the season and well into All-Star season. We'll take a commercial break and return to wrap up this 2016 Southland Conference season preview.
New York City is the largest market for broadcast media. It's the epicenter for the TV and radio industry. If you ever had a dream of working in the thrilling broadcast world, then make it a reality by going to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. CSB has helped numerous people get a job with hands-on training and a learn-by-doing mentality. You will learn all of the high-tech equipment in the TV and radio studios. From hosting your own radio show to being a news or sports anchor, operating a camera in the TV studio, or editing audio and video, the choice is yours. Graduates from CSB have gone on to work at some of the major companies in the industry. To get more information, call 1-800-TV-RADIO or check us out at GoCSB.com. Your road to success starts here at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Stop! Stand! Hit! Hit!
And welcome back to the FCS Kickoff presented by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and we are in the fourth quarter of our 2016 Southland Conference season preview. So let's not waste any time and jump right into our season predictions for the conference. The Houston Baptist Huskies check in at number 11, and there's a lot to like about the progress this team has made and where they are going. Remember, this program is only entering its fourth year of existence, and head coach Vic Shealy finally has a veteran junior-laden squad. That'll help these guys be much more competitive as a result, and you'll see a big-time improvement along both sides of the line of scrimmage. They have a really good linebacker in junior Garrett Dolan. The question is if they can score enough points to keep up in the conference. It doesn't matter how good your defense is. If you can't sustain drives, they'll be back on the field too often and will break down later on in the game. I think we'll see this team secure their first conference win in 2 years, and next season we'll see them make even bigger strides. The Northwestern State Demons are another team that I think will be really good defensively, but overall success will hinge on how well they can be productive on the offensive side of football. The Demons run a 3-3-5, 3-4 hybrid defense and have a ton of athletic and versatile talent on that side of the ball. 9 starters return, led by safeties Adam Jones and Darius Pollard. Offensively, they lose playmakers on the flanks and quarterback Steven Rivers, who helped stabilize their offense last season. Now they're back in the same boat with questions at quarterback, and whoever gets the starting nod has the luxury of handing the ball off to running back DeMar Lawrence, who is coming off an 11 rushing touchdown season. Running game and defense can win you a lot of games, but will it be enough to get you victories in the Southland? Incarnate Word has some talent and are coming off a winning season. Now they lose a big piece of the defensive puzzle with the graduation of Mike Tavares, who now plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's how much of an impact Tavares had on the Cardinals defense. Incarnate Word had 62 TFLs as a team, and Tavares had 22 and a half of those by himself. However, all is not lost for their defense. Defensive end Alex Jenkins returns and is a big piece up front. Linebacker Josh Zellers provides good athleticism and range at the second level, and he should be solid in the secondary. The offense, more in particular the quarterback position, is where the biggest questions are. Last year, Trent Britton threw 13 interceptions to only 9 touchdowns, and you hope those numbers flip and he gets much more efficient as well. Now, the Cardinals do return virtually all of their players on offense, so you can expect some progress, which is why I have them 9th. Next up are the Southeastern Louisiana Lions, and if quarterback Deshae Lander can remain healthy, I think they have a chance to be pretty good on offense. There's good talent in the backfield with Julius Maracalin, who led the team in rushing last year, and SMU transfer Darius Durrell, who brings game-changing speed to the table. Now, turnovers killed them as a whole last year, and as a result, killed the passing game as well. Along the offensive line, I think they'll be solid. Keep an eye on JUCO transfer Chris Phillips. He looks to me as an immediate impact guy. And speaking of immediate impact, incoming LSU transfer Sion Tehuma should start right away at linebacker and provide that constant pressure off the edge. The Lions went the JUCO route to add depth along both sides of the line of scrimmage and also in the secondary. The latter is where you have some questions after losing 2 pro talents in Harlan Miller and Denzel Thompson. There's a lot of questions surrounding the Lions this year, but some of those can be quickly answered as soon as the new pieces start to gel. I think this will be their last season missing the playoffs. The Abilene Christian Wildcats check in at number 7. The great news is that they're coming into the 2016 season at full strength, which is mainly why they had a subpar 2015 season. The hope is that they've created depth as a result. Some good pieces are in place on both sides of the ball, especially in the backfield. I think quarterback Parker McKenzie will only get better, and running back DeAndre Brown led the team in rushing as a sophomore last season. The biggest concern would be defensively. The Wildcats gave up 32 points a game last year, which was a 2 two-pronged problem. One, they gave up 5.8 yards a carry on the ground to the tune of 233 yards a game. And two, led them to not being able to get off the field on third downs. The hope is that with continuity comes progress in the trenches. We'll see, but they'll definitely hover around that 6-5 mark this year. Next are the Nichols Colonels. Head coach Tim Rebowe has increased the talent level down there in Thibodaux, Louisiana. The Colonels got significantly better down the stretch and are an intriguing wild card in the Southland this season. I say wild card because despite a defense that gave up 30-plus points a game with 9 starters returning, the feeling is that they got better late last year and looked markedly better in the spring. The back seven looks really impressive with linebackers Hezekiah White and Jeffrey Hebert, along with defensive backs B.T. Sanders and Amani Martin. Offensively, they run a multiple spread, which is a version of the option, and quarterback Toscani Figaro is back in the fold and is returning from a collarbone injury. They'll have to break in some new tailbacks as both top rushers are gone. Wide receiver C.J. Bates is their big play guy on the flanks, and the Colonels will need their offensive line to play much better and will have to do a better job of sustaining drives in order for them to really make some noise in the conference this year. However, things are definitely looking up for the Silver and Red. At number 5 are the Central Arkansas Bears. Head coach Steve Campbell's team has a lot to be excited about entering the season. They were on the brink of a playoff berth last year and have good perimeter talent returning. Quarterback Hayden Hillebrand returns after tossing 12 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions, completing 63% of his passes in the process. Now, the Bears are really good on the flanks with wide receiver Desmond Smith, and in the secondary as they boast the best unit in the Southland Conference. Where you have some concerns are along both sides of the line of scrimmage. The Bears lost some big-time talent along the defensive line with Jonathan Woodard getting drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and along the offensive line with guys that garnered multiple starts throughout their career. Straightening out the line of scrimmage and finding a bell cow or bell cows in the backfield will be the mission as they get through the beginning start of the season. The Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks should be back on track. They slipped last year as they only scored 28 points a game instead of their usual 30. Now, all jokes aside, they did add offensive coordinator Gary Croton to increase production on that side of the ball. Now, Croton has a bevy of talent to work with quarterback Zach Conkey, running backs Joshua West and Lauren Easley, and a slew of wide receivers led by Justice Liggins. The concern is whether or not the offense or the revamped offensive line will be an asset or a liability. Now, defensively, the Lumberjacks struggled in multiple areas. They couldn't stop the run, they couldn't get off the field, nor could they generate turnovers. Now, to their credit, they did get better as the season went on, which as a result ended up going 4-2 over that stretch. My thought is that the last 6 games carried over into the spring and will carry over into the season, so we'll find out quickly how better they've gotten defensively in the opener versus Texas Tech and McNeese 2 weeks after that. At number 3, we have the Lamar Cardinals behind the best offensive line in the Southland, and on the back of sensational All-American running back Cade Harrington, the Cardinals look like a team that'll make a strong push for a playoff berth this season. Quarterback Carson Earp returns at 100% and could help balance out the offense. Defensively, the talent is there to right the ship. 2 defensive linemen to help turn things around are Omar Tebow and Manasseh Miles. Both will be looked upon to improve a run defense that gave up nearly 5 yards a carry. Stopping the run is about attitude and want to, so expect new defensive line coach Eric Rourke to spend extra attention making sure the front end helps out the back end. This has been a steady growth to this point for this program, and if they can get better defensively and learn to close out games, they'll be playing bonus football after Thanksgiving. The McNeese State Cowboys are going to be a tough opponent in the FCS this season. New head coach Lance Guidry will still be armed with a very tough defense, capable running game, and excellent receivers. Who will replace quarterback Daniel Sams is the biggest question. Grant Ashcraft is the incumbent and is more of a passer than runner, which actually caters to the personnel that they have on the roster. So look for a more balanced approach on offense. The special teams also remains intact. The only question mark is up front along the offensive line as they must replace 3 starters. An important returning starter, however, is center Mason Martin. The Cowboys owned the regular season last year, going undefeated before falling to the conference rival Sam Houston State Bearcats in the playoffs. I think we may see the Cowboys have another great season, but will the outcome be different? We shall see. At number 1 are the Sam Houston State Bearcats. I do believe the Bearcats do an excellent job of reloading instead of rebuilding, Quarterback Jeremiah Briscoe will definitely build on the success he had last season, and preseason all-conference, all-purpose player Jedediah Lewis's ability to be instant offense should also aid a team that averaged over 40 points a game. Defensively, we know the Bearcats can affect the pocket and show great team defense in space, and with that said, being better versus the run is going to be the focus, and they also have to replace some key pieces in the secondary. But like I said, they do a great job of reloading their roster, and head coach Casey Keeler is one of the best in the business at adjusting in-game and also maximizing the talent and skill on his roster. The Bearcats schedule sets up pretty nice for them, which has all of the signs pointing to that November 5th showdown versus McNeese State. Look for Sam Houston State to make another deep run in the FCS playoffs.
Well, I think the FCS is really, when you look at it, it's the perfect model for football. Okay, in that as a coach, number one, you deal with Division I, it's great. You deal with a high level of athlete. In our case, you deal with a high level of student. It's extremely competitive football. It's a great environment, but it's also doesn't have some of the trappings that the bigger levels have as far as the business and the money of things. But it's pure football. And as a coach, that's what I like is it's about the football. And I think the way we determine our champion is the best playoff system in all of sports. And I think that you can never argue with who the national champion is at the FCS level. And it's just top to bottom the most competitive bracket of playoff sports there is in any of the sports. So if you like the action, I think the quality of play is extremely high. I think the quality of person is extremely high. I think there's some great coaches at our level, and it's attainable to fans too. It's also you come to an FCS game, you have a little bit more of a close experience to the players. And in our case, the players meet the people in the town. It's right there. They're not kind of like these pros in waiting. You can reach out, you can touch them, you can meet the coaches, you can do that stuff. It's just enjoyable football at a real high level still.
So that's it for our 2016 Southland Conference preview. Be sure to check out more of our FCS Conference previews on the website footballgameplan.com/FCS Kickoff. Make sure to check out the FCS Opening Drive radio show every Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time with host Luke Diamond and myself. You can download the app for free on Google Play and also on iTunes. The call-in number is located on the screen right now and also where you can listen online. And be sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts. Also check out the website at footballgameplan.com/FCS Kickoff.